All right, well, good morning, Commonplace.
Hi, Chad.
How about I turn it on there? That's much better. Well, as Josh said, my name is Chad Long, and I came on staff just a few months ago as the ministry coordinator to help out with some of the behind-the-scenes stuff here at Commonplace, which is something I enjoy. My wife and I are former missionaries as well as pastor, and so been up front a lot, and I'm really enjoying not being up front and being behind the scenes and letting Josh do all the hard stuff. So, go easy on him. It's not always easy pastoring a flock of sheep, or people for that matter. So, as Josh said, one of my roles, or my role is a ministry coordinator for this congregation, and what that means are a couple different things. One of them, one of my primary roles, are the process of assimilation, which is a really fancy word that means helping visitors become attenders, helping attenders become members, and helping members become disciples who make disciples. And so it's that process of welcoming new people into the fold, helping them to thrive, and helping them to multiply. And so that's one of the primary tasks that I focus on. As many of you know, if you're new here today, or you're new in the last couple months or even years, going to a new church or a new place at all where you're interacting with people can be difficult. So one of the things that we want to do at the Commonplace and do well is welcome visitors and help them fit and belong and blend in and grow and connect. And that's what we're really working hard at. So first of all, let me put a plug in for this. If you are new today, or you're new in the last several weeks or months, and you haven't filled out a connection card, that is the primary means for us to stalk you, connect with you after you leave this place. So if you haven't filled out a connection card, this is one of the ways that we can get in touch with you and also just connect you to some of the other members of the body. So please, if you didn't get one, you haven't filled one out, take time to do so. That really helps us stay connected with you. Also, another thing, you notice the lay of the land map that sits out in the front. We just kind of put that up a couple weeks ago. It's another avenue for us to help new people see when they walk in the door, okay, where do I go for this? Where's the bathroom? Where's the kids? Where's the coffee? The most important thing. And where do I go find a seat? And so that's another thing. We're trying to make it easier for people to come in and find their way around. The welcome flag outside, although it's not real prominent because we have Snowmageddon on the sidewalk, but we want to have that out there as a new visual indicator welcoming people who come in. As Josh said, the church is going to roll 10 years old in this place next month. And a lot of people aren't even aware that church happens here at the Commonplace and the coffee shop. So we want to make ourselves more aware and them aware to us so that we can welcome visitors in and help them become a part of the body. Some of the other things that we're going to be focusing on, which is a big one coming up, is redesigning the website and making that easier to connect with, have the necessary information but not overwhelm people. That's something Josh and I have been looking at for a couple months now. Another aspect is providing opportunities for new people to connect. I believe it was 2 weeks ago we did Pizza with the Pastor, and that's aimed at new people who have only been here a short while, getting a chance to sit down not only with Pastor Josh, but with leadership as well, and to spend some time just asking questions, hanging out, eating food, so that you get a chance to see that the people that lead Commonplace are real, genuine people, and you can get to know them, and you can ask them even the hard questions. Another thing that we're doing is called Coffee with the Commonplace. And what that means is, when you fill out one of these cards, we always follow up with you, whether it's by text, phone call, or email, and we give you a chance. If you want to sit down and talk one-on-one, we can do that. Whether it be with Josh or myself or an elder or another member of the staff, we want to provide that opportunity for you guys to be able to connect at a real level. Okay? We're trying to be really intentional, if you can't figure it out, about our visitors. And so the other thing that we're doing is developing a very simple pathway that helps us identify from the time you walk in the door, if I want to take that next step, what is that next step? Where is that next step? And how do I take it? And so be looking for this. It's something that we're working on right now called the Commonplace Pathway, from visitor to a multiplying disciple maker. And that's something that we're passionate about as well. And that leads into the next part of my job, is helping in discipleship. And so one of the ways I'm doing that is working with Miss Deb and the Triad facilitators to help better equip and basically provide for whatever needs are necessary for triads to thrive. You may be asking yourself, well, what are triads? Triads are the primary means of discipleship that we employ at the Commonplace, and it is 2, 3, 4 people, preferably 3, because that's triad. But anyway, gather together for mutual accountability and discipleship of one another. It's not I'm up here and you're down here, so I'm going to take you under my wing. It's we're in this journey together, and we're going to study the Word, and we're going to pray together, and we're going to do life together. And so if you're not involved in a triad, I would encourage you to consider that, to pray about that. Ask Josh or one of the elders, can you help me be in a triad? Because that's really one of the biggest forms of discipleship that we employ here at the Commonplace. All right. Also, just a quick plug, on February 10th, it's going to be 2 weeks from now, Triad Facilitators, we're going to be having a workshop during the second service in the back room. So please, if you can, plan on being a part of that. Also, one of the other exciting things that we have coming up with discipleship that I'm looking forward to is we're going to start new Bible basics classes that we're going to be offering. Probably an introduction to the Bible, Bible 101, and then we're going to do a class series on the New Testament and the Old Testament as well. And that's one of the ways that we want to equip the body of Commonplace to grow up in Christ. So I'll be waiting for those details, and we'll get them to you as soon as possible. All right. Also, lastly, one of the things that's going to kind of become more important and prevalent in the next few months for me is partnering with, hopefully, the new elders that you elect today to do elder-led member care. We want to do well at taking care of the body at Commonplace, whether you're new or you've been here since the beginning. And so Josh and myself and the elders are going to be working through not just a system, but a way of doing family that makes sure people don't fall through the cracks, that there are needs that are met during times of crisis, and when people start falling by the wayside, we know that, and we can reach out and make sure that everyone is taken care of. So those are my 3 main focuses presently. Thank you for your time and your ears. I'm going to hand it back over to Josh.
All right, thanks, Chad. Our next report comes to you from Shelby. Shelby is in charge as a role in our children's ministry of curriculum and training. Is that right? How would you describe what you do? Curriculum? All right. And she's volunteered to give our report today on behalf of our children's ministry team.
I volunteered because you don't say no.
Because I asked her.
And Josh says you don't do it. See? I got name So anyway, I'm Shelby, and I mainly actually work with preschool kids upstairs. So the thumping is not my group. The thumping is the elementary group. So Esther and myself are the teacher leaders, I guess, of the preschool group. Michael and Jess and Shauna are our nursery leaders in the back, and Robin and Deb are the elementary leaders. And we have tons of helpers that help us. And I'm going to talk more about that because we always need more helpers. So our groups are growing. Every single group that we have is growing. And Psalm 127:3 says, children are a gift from the Lord, and they are a reward from Him. So it is just so cool that we are blessed to be growing in that area. And we're excited not only to be physically growing and having more kids, but we are growing our knowledge and our spiritual walk with them. We don't just teach them, they're teaching us too. We're learning right beside them. Proverbs 22:6 says, train a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not turn away from it. So that's our heart for the kids. We want them to have this foundation. But we only get them for an hour, well, longer on these days, each week, and you guys get them all week long. So we really want to be a partner for you, and we want to give you some tools that you can use. So our curriculum that we're using has a take-home note to kind of just give you some insight on what we're doing when we're up there, when we're thumping around, and give you some conversation points and some prayer pieces and things that you can do with them during the week, because ultimately you are their leaders in Christ. We just get to do it for a little while. So Deuteronomy 11:19 says, teach my words to your children. Talk about them when you're at home. That's our part at home. Talk about them when you walk along the road, or maybe driving to school, or out to eat, or back to church on Wednesdays for class. Or speak about them when you go to bed, and speak about them when you get up. So God's very clear on this isn't just a Sunday thing. So we want to help with that. And like Josh said, I'm not the kids ministry leader. We are a team of teachers and helpers right now. And we try to meet as a formal group every couple months to talk about like where we've been and where we're headed, but even just to share a meal together as leaders. And we're trying to only ask our helpers and our teachers to help once a month. But to make that realistic, we kind of need more helpers. But we try to make it very easy for the helpers. We have an online curriculum that we're using for preschool and elementary, and it's broken into 4 parts. The Old Testament, the New Testament. We're using those parts to give kids a foundation for what they know about the Bible, so that when they're older and they're sitting out here and they hear Josh reference a Bible story, they can kind of remember back. I know what that guy did. I remember hearing about him. That's not news to them. One of the sections is spiritual life, and so that's really just our way of applying what they're learning to their lives, so that it's not just happening upstairs for a little while. And the last section, of course, is holidays, because you have to have that. But if you want to see the curriculum that we look at, any of us would love to share that with you. You could look through and see what the lessons are about. It's just kind of fun to see how it's set up. And I mentioned the take-home page that they have. So it makes it really easy. If you are thinking, I kind of would like to help kids. I like to do kid stuff. But I don't really know I'm not really qualified. I don't know enough about the Bible, but the cool thing is, God doesn't call the people who are qualified. He qualifies the people that he calls. So if he lays that on your heart, if he lays that on your heart that you might want to be working with kids, please know that we have the lessons. They're all laid out for you. It's easy peasy. So if you're thinking, I don't know if I want to teach kids, but I just want to cuddle babies, we have a job for you to do that too. Yeah, there are a lot of babies right now. We usually have 2 people back there, but with this baby boom that happened, we may be looking at trying to get 3 people back there at a time. So, and that's what you want when you're a mama and you send your kids back there. You want more helpers. So, let's see. But if you think I just really like to worship. Well, we worship with our kids upstairs too, so maybe you want to just be there to worship alongside the kids, because for them to see a role model of worship, what a great way to teach them. And honestly, I think sometimes they teach us more about worship up there. Have you seen them dance? They are not shy like we are down here. Or if you just want to pray with kids, we take time to pray with these kids, and that's so important to be praying with them. So if you just want to sit down with kids, or even just be upstairs praying over them while they're playing with Play-Doh. What an important piece. But listen to what the Spirit lays on your heart for our kids. And you can see any of us that work upstairs if you are interested, and we will guide you in the right direction. Just be praying about what you feel, or ask one of us and we'll pray with you. So I guess that's all. We'd love to add to our team.
So if somebody is interested in serving in children's ministry, you can talk to Shelby. You can talk to Michael Bruning back there. Robin?
Yeah, she's upstairs.
Robin's upstairs. You can fill out a connection card and just check on the back, I want to serve. We'll follow up with you on that. I believe Robin, who does our scheduling, her email is on the church website as well. We'll figure it out. So, anyway, we would love to have you plug in this way. So thank you, Shelby. Thanks for all that you and yours. In fact, let's just give our children's workers a round of applause. They have a holy responsibility, and that was a great takeaway. God doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies the called. Preach that something else. Great. All right. Next up is Derek. This is Shelby's husband, and anyway, he is in charge. Derek is in charge of facilities and coordinating their care and upkeep, and he's doing this all with one arm, which is pretty good. So, go for it.
So I'm not as. Is this on? There we go. So I'm not as organized as Chad and Shelby are. I don't have a whole big, like, printed out paper. I made a list this morning, sitting right over there. But as Josh said, I'm the facilities coordinator, so I don't have a big speech because I don't get to do cool things like take care of the souls of kids and adults. So I take care of the physical building that we're sitting in here, take care of the grounds, and it is important though, because this building is open 7 days a week. We are here 6 days a week as a coffee shop, people coming in and out, and then the 7th day we're here as a church. And so there's a lot of people that this building serves. So there is a lot of things that we have to take care of here. Looking back at 2018, some of the things we've done, of course the small things. There's always a leaky toilet to be fixed or a light bulb to be changed or something like that. So there's always the small things that we need to take care of. We also did some security upgrades with the nursery being in the back. We looked at some security issues with that. We put up some blinds so they can pull the blinds when they're with the kids. You've noticed in the past couple months the back door being locked. We're trying to get everybody to come in the front door. Again, there's some security things. So install new locks on the back doors, just so that somebody can't walk in the back door during church and have access to the nursery. So that's one of the changes that we've made there. But changed the locks so that we're able to do that. We had a cleanup day in the spring last year. Did a lot of small projects then. We cleaned up the basement. Josh said that not many people know we have a basement, but there was a lot of junk, a lot of trash down there. We cleaned that up a little bit. Had the HVAC serviced. Some bigger things. We fixed some of the potholes out on the road. Try to clean that up a little bit. And we also noticed that the second floor, where we have the kids ministry on Sunday, if there was ever any emergency or anything there was only one exit from that. So we purchased and installed an emergency ladder off the roof that everybody could have a second means to get down, not just the stairs here. So a couple of things to look back on that we've done. Heading into 2019, some of the plans that we have, again, there's always those small things that we need to do. Again, we're going to try to have another spring cleanup work day, and I think it's scheduled in April, if I remember correctly. One of the other things, talking about the coffee shop, we started to look into purchasing our own coffee roaster. Right now, Josh goes every other week to Williamsport and roast coffee, pretty much an all-day affair for him. So we're looking into purchasing a coffee roaster, which would be installed in the back room. So there's some things that we're looking at for that. And so, obviously right now I need an extra hand, so, but also, hopefully as looking forward into the service here, I've been asked to step into an eldership position, so some of my time will be split between eldership and facilities coordinator. So I'm going to work on establishing a team, just a group of guys, ladies, anybody that has some service, a heart for service that can do some of these things, just a list of people that I can call on to help out a little bit. So in the next couple weeks, might be tapping on some shoulders and asking for just a name on a list right now. Again, just, even some of those small things that might come up to kind of help out a little bit. And then as Josh said, as he pointed out about the attendance and looking for a new building, I'm leading up the I call it the transformation team. It's just recently we've started meeting in December and started talking about what are our needs as a church. Obviously the coffee shop is we're outgrowing that, which is wonderful. To see the amount of people that we're bringing in. But what do we need in a new building? Do we need one now? what are the wants, so there's some things that we've been talking about, again, just some quick or general conversations. Of course, the item came up as far as cost, so I've been talking to organization through the Christian Missionary Alliance called Orchard Alliance. They do funding for new buildings, upgrades for churches, so we sent them some preliminary financial information, just starting to get some things rolling here as far as what it looks like heading forward. So, and also Josh mentioned the prayer nights. So one of the things that came up with the prayer nights was I heard that, and I shared this at one of the prayer nights, is that we need to be praying for big prayers. And I think you mentioned that last week. Sometimes, as Christians and as a church, we look at the small things. We look at day to day. Help me to get home because of the weather, or help, and which are all good things. But sometimes we have to look at the big picture. We have to ask God for the big things. So that was one of the things that was on my heart a couple months ago when we were talking about that. Is looking forward in the next 5 to 10 years. What is the Commonplace Church going to look like? And not just the building wise, but as far as we're going to keep growing up to 300, 400, 500 people. Are we going to, move into another building, and what's that all going to look like? So I just encourage you to not only pray for the day-to-day things, but ask God to lay in your heart to pray for those big things, because God has big plans, and I think that we need to remember that. We need to ask Him to help us out in those big things. So.
All right, thanks, Derek. If you've got any interest at all in or a willingness to serve, talk to Derek, and he will get you on his team. Now we get to do the fun one. This is our financial snapshot. We're going to go line by line through the budget. And, no, not really. This is James. He's our treasurer.
Yeah.
And we're gonna tag team this one. It's gonna be fun.
A little more in the
We're gonna wrap it. All right. When you get to the commonplace.
So usually every month we do a financial snapshot. So we're just going to start out with that. Talk about some highlights from 2018, and then kind of the big picture for the 2019 budget. So I'm not going to try to bore you to death here. So I'm going to go ahead, Ian. Okay, so once again, another month that the church has given above the exceeded goal of $7,888. So you guys gave $929,223 in December. So praise the Lord on that. And then if you see 2018, we exceeded our overall goal by $6,609. Wow!
Yeah, can I just say that in the history of our church has never happened.
A few years back, Jeremy pulled his hair out quite a bit as a treasurer, right?
Yeah. Jeremy was a treasurer. He said to me the other day, when James gives snapshots now, it's always good news. When I was a treasurer, I always had to break bad news to everybody.
So, the next slide then, we also collect money for the Great Commission Fund, which goes and helps missionaries in the Christian Missionary Alliance. So, we go to that. So, to start this graph, I don't know if I ever really explained it, but on the left-hand side, we have our previous 2015, 16, 17, and now 18. And you can see each year it's growing. And last month we gave $390 to that fund, and total year to date was $4,325. And this slide, one aspect of it, which we'll also talk later, this is what you guys give out of your funds. And then our church also matches 2% of our general fund, which I'll talk about later. So it was a really good year. Some other giving that we did, fundraisers. Next slide again. In 2018, the first time that we've done church development / church planning. So our district raises funds, and then as church decide to plant, this money goes out to them to help, pay for buildings.
Right. Our own story, in the history of our church, we have received probably $200,000 or more in church planting funds from other churches who contributed to us. Because in the early days of a church, you don't have any money, you're broke. And so we wanted to be able to give back and bless other churches that are just starting as well. So we took up an offering for a couple of weeks, and we raised How much?
$694.
That's awesome.
Praise the Lord. It was fun. We used the kids. They walked around. We got little bags that looked like church, and we used the kids, right? It helps. And then the college mission scholarship, it's something that Rhonda has kind of led up. In the past, it's been yard sale funds go to that, and then oftentimes, I can't think of what time of year it is, but we have the baskets here that we raffle off. That, it's not just our church that has the opportunity to buy tickets for that, but it's also people that come into the church. So this year we raised $677, and if I remember correctly, we gave $400 of it away to some students that were going on mission trips. So if you're a student here, you plan on going on a mission trip, we have a little application that we go through, and you get some extra funds to help you out there.
Absolutely. So, highlights of 2018 are,
We exceeded our general fund again, as mentioned earlier, by $6,609.
I just want to say, in 2017, at the end of the year, whenever we passed, the church board passed the budget, for the first time ever, they, and James said he'll talk about this in a little bit, but they decided that they were going to be a generous church, and we were going to give away a portion of what came in to missions as an act of faith. And after we did that, God, I don't know how it works. It's like when we decided to be generous, God became generous. So it's amazing.
Yep. So then, as I mentioned, you've increased your contributions to the Great Commission Fund. So if you take the previous slide, showed
$4,325.
plus the 2% of our general fund, which was $101,000. It came to a total of $6,345 the church as a whole has given to the Great Commission Fund.
So we sent that money to our missionaries all over the globe to tell other nations about the good news of Jesus.
And then, so looking at the total budget, we were under budget in most expenses. And then unfortunately, the reason was the majority of it was because Sam wasn't here this year. So that was kind of, we didn't have to pay him. So that was sad, good, but unfortunately, which with the extra money that we raised over our goal, plus the savings and expenses, we had a total income of $12,030, which was not what our goal is to have an income of a profitable balance sheet.
But we always do a break-even budget.
Yeah. So it's,
I think God's preparing us for something.
there you go. That next big step. Yep. So highlights then of the 2019 budget.
Oh yeah, what's going on? What's happening in 2019? What kind of big, bold things are we planning for now, James?
Just to increase the general fund offering. So this has come from, you may ask why, I have that question there. So we used to have a goal of $7,884. Now it's going to be $9,774.
How much came in last month though? 9,223. So they're already giving.
Yeah. So that is an increase, but you say, well, why are we increasing it? The church is growing for one, so we need extra expenses, whether we're giving to the partnership.
Partnership is a contribution we make to our district, the Christian
Yeah.
Eastern Pennsylvania district.
So as your church grows and your income grows, then you have to pay a little more. The internet, we didn't have internet upstairs last year, so that really wasn't, at the beginning of the year when we made the budget. But after Josh had struggled with trying to have good Wi-Fi upstairs, he did more stressing than work at the beginning of the year, I guess. So that's another line item this year. Wednesday nights, if you come to triads or the Bible studies, we offer babysitting, so that way parents don't have to worry about that. And we also partnership with the parents that are here, so it's kind of a match system. We started the youth group, so we wanted to give Luke a little bit of funds to help feed the kids, or maybe take them on a trip. And then there were some payroll changes, one for the new ministries position.
We budgeted for a college minister
as well.
as well, which, to be honest, we probably over budgeted because we would be paying them right now.
Yeah.
And we're not. So
Yeah.
be praying that we can pay college ministers soon.
And then Josh's compensation, a little bit of change there. And then annual council meeting.
Oh yeah, so every 3 years, 2 years, the Christian Mission Alliance has a big gathering of all pastors, and so we budgeted for me to travel that to Florida this year, for me.
Or warm weather. Hope it's in that summer.
It is spring.
So that's kind of where we are. It was a really good financial year, and it was just a blessing to kind of be here doing that. Josh has kind of been my right-hand man doing a lot of the work lately. So if you have questions, you can see myself, Josh, Horning, and Josh can answer those questions too. He's pretty much in the loop. So,
Let's not forget that Jesus is the giver of all good gifts to our church. And I'm so proud of you all for being generous this year. Giving statements will be going out sometime
yes,
soon.
yep, we'll have
For your
those
taxes.
next week. Got them printed out, just need to put them in envelopes. So if you have, you want a visual copy, we can do that as well, but we'll have some hard copies here.
Now the budget, while we didn't go line by line, it's a transparent budget. Anybody has any questions about anything on that budget, you can always talk to our treasurer or our assistant treasurer, and they will be happy to show you that as well. So, all right, thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. All right. Elections. This is the part where we need to approve and affirm the people who will serve the Commonplace this coming year. We're going to do this in two parts. All right. See, we have a nominating committee, and they nominated as a treasurer Josh Hornig, who is currently our assistant treasurer. Josh, stand up for everybody. All right. And then we've also... Yeah, oh, platform. Yeah, we didn't vote on it. Assistant treasurer is Laura Sproat. We just received Laura into membership, and I think she's in the back right now with our children's working. Secretary is Carissa Pearson. Carissa serves as the secretary for the last 2 years and has done a fantastic job. And then we also nominated 2 people for our nominating committee next year. It's a weird little thing to do, right? But Steph Alexander and Michael Bruni have agreed to serve in that capacity. The nominations were presented to you about a month ago. No one else presented any other names for nomination, which means that if it's your desire, we can just elect all of these people at one time, which I think is probably your desire. So I would entertain a motion to approve the nominations for 2019 as they are presented here. Do I have a motion? Oh, we got a motion in the back. Who beat you? We got a second right here. All in favor of approving these nominations for membership, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried. All right, congratulations. Now you can clap for them. All right. Second component to this is our elders. Now, elders are, so these people we just voted on, they serve 1-year terms. Elders serve 3-year terms. They have a responsibility to care for the flock of God. There's qualifications, biblical qualifications that the outlined in Scripture, that an elder is someone who cares for his own soul, who leads his family well, who is gentle, not coercive, has a healthy marriage. Elders have the capacity to teach Scripture, correct error, to maintain doctrinal orthodoxy and balance. They're hospitable. They're raising their children to love Jesus. And those are some qualifications of what it means to be an elder. And then the responsibilities of eldership is that an elder is someone who helps take care of the congregation